If you're applying to university in 2025, watch this video. Do you feel like you have no idea where to start when researching universities? Researching universities is such an overwhelming task, especially when you're moving away from home. There are so many things to consider that may not even cross your mind, from the location to campus type, accommodation and transport. I'm here to break down every aspect of research universities so you can make sure that you make a checklist over summer and feel your most confident in your university choices. I'm a recent law graduate from the University of Southampton, and I'm here to share with you what I wish I knew when I was applying to university. Comment down below your first choice university if you've got that far already. In this video, I'm going to give you 8 key pieces of advice. As the first in my family to go to university, I had no idea when to start when researching universities. All I knew was there was something called the Russell Group. Some universities were based on a campus, others were integrated into cities. I was confident in my choice of the course, however, I had no idea what to consider when researching universities. So I'm here to make sure that before even starting university, you feel you're most confident in your top university choice. The first piece of advice I have to give you is to research your course. It sounds so obvious, but I have found through experience that if you study something at A level, it may be presumed that it would be the same at a degree level. However, that is not the case. Even people on my law course who studied law at A level have said how different the content is to the degree level. One piece of advice I would give you is to make the most of free online resources, especially during your summer break when you're not studying. So you can do something called a MOOC, which is a massive open online course. You can do these in almost any subject. I'll leave a link in the description for you as well. I did a couple in law and one in commercial law. It's basically like a very small online course, usually about 4 to 6 hours of learning, and you have a couple online lectures and some questions. It's not assessed or anything. It's just a really good gauge of whether you actually find the content interesting or not. Luckily, I did after doing the law ones, and it confirmed that I was making the right decision. However, it's a really good way for you to maybe reconsider the course that you think you're applying for. Things to consider as well with courses that may lead to professions such as law or psychology is how to actually qualify in those professions. So for example, a law degree is pretty much the same everywhere. There are about 7 to 8 key modules, I believe. One thing to check before you even attend university is that if you're wanting to pursue a profession such as law, that your degree that you're applying for actually meets those qualifications, and it should say on the university website. But all other courses, I would just check how the degree is assessed. The website usually says whether there's a mix of exams or coursework, group work. It's hard to know what kind of style of assessment you like because obviously at school it's pretty much all exams, but I find that it's nice to have a mix of both exams and coursework, and when you're in the position to decide maybe what optional modules you're taking, you have a broad range of examination types. Secondly, location. Location is really important. I think it's based on maybe your maturity level or whether you're ready to leave home and become fully independent. I moved to university about 5 hours away from home, which was a huge change. I knew that I wanted to have some connections to London if I were to have interviews or to want to attend networking events, open days. It would be so much hassle getting a 3-hour train, whereas from Southampton, it was much closer to London. Maybe consider, if you know that far in advance where you actually want your career to be based, then I would pick a university in that area. Just for employability reasons, there'll be lots of careers events and fairs, and so if you're already in that area, then you get to meet the employers that could be hiring you. The distance from home matters as well. This is a time where you need to be honest with yourself. When you start university, you're not only learning a brand new course, but you also have to make new friends. You're likely living in accommodation, so there's housemates. You're also now cooking and cleaning for yourself, doing your own laundry. It's very overwhelming the first semester at university. I know that you have a short drive over a weekend if you just feel overwhelmed. That's really normal. But obviously, if you're like me and you go to university 5 hours away, you're not going to have that option really without it impacting your learning in some way. Manage your own expectations. Thirdly, you must research the city or the town you're applying to itself. I would say this is quite hard to do online if you're researching the city or town that you're applying to if it's not close to you, because it's hard to get a feel for a place you've not actually visited. And so something that you can do over summer or even in the autumn if you're able to travel is, I would say, to go to as many open days as you can. When I visited my university choices, it actually changed the order of my top choice to my bottom choice because I got such a strong feel from some of them and others. I would definitely try to go to open days if you can. If not, YouTube is your friend. So many people do study vlogs, so it might be worth watching some of those. Things to consider when applying to universities in a different city or town. The transport, whether there's a main train station near the university or your accommodation. What are the bus links like if you'll have to commute to your campus? The distance to the motorway if you're driving as well. Whether you prefer busier or quieter places. Again, visiting these towns and cities universities can really help you imagine yourself actually living there. 3 years of your life is a long time, and if you don't particularly like the place, it's going to make it a little bit harder for you to fully settle. Fourthly, you should research the campus setting of the university itself. The word campus basically means that all or most of the university buildings are in one place. All the lecture theatres, the department buildings, some even have accommodation on site as well. Other universities are sort of in the middle in that they may have 2 to 3 or even more campuses. For example, they may have a humanities campus, a social sciences campus, and accommodation may be off-site as well. A city university, however, is the complete opposite. This means that all the university buildings are integrated with the town or city. You may be walking down a parade of shops, and then there might be a law building on one side or the students' union on the other. I personally preferred applying to campuses because I just quite like the feel of all the students being in one place. They have a stronger sense of community, and so it really helps me settle in because everything I needed was there. So that's something to consider. Obviously, I'm quite biased. I would definitely check the campus situation before applying if you think that that's something that would maybe alter your experience there. Transport. Depending on whether you're traveling home during weekends or if you already know whereabouts you'll be living in the city versus where your campus or the university buildings are, transport is really important. Check to see if the university provides a bus service. It's also helpful to check whether if you're living in student accommodation in first year, if they actually provide a bus pass for you or if you have to pay for that yourself. And check for trains as well, if you're going home over the weekend or want to visit your other friends at universities as well. 6. The Students' Union. It's really easy to overlook the importance of the Students' Union, but I found it was really the heart and soul of the university. And what I mean by this is that the Students' Union is a place that looks after all of the societies. These are really important to help you to find your place at university and settle in. Whether you already have a hobby or want to try something new, the Students' Union is going to determine the non-academic side of your university experience. And so check if you already have a hobby, is there a society that's already representing that? Also check what facilities the Students' Union has, cafes, just something to consider. Number 7, career support. This is probably the last thing on your mind when researching universities because you'll just focus on actually getting into the place and not thinking about applying for jobs. But career support is something that you will be considering throughout your entire degree. It's great to get a head start now to check what resources are available. What you can do is go on either the library website of the university you're thinking of applying to and also a careers website that you can access, and just check what resources it has, get a feel for whether they have strong resources in your niche, get a feel for the level of support the university has as well. Last but not least, number 8 is accommodation. Accommodation, it determines your experience in first year. It's luck of the draw as well. It's really hard to imagine yourself living somewhere, especially when you don't know who you're going to be living with, because in most situations you will have quite a few flatmates. The things I would make sure you check for accommodation: the rent. Are the bills included in the rent, or do you have to pay for those separately? Distance to campus, is it within walking distance? You can check that on Google Maps. If not, can you get a bus there quite easily, or you need to get a car if you can drive? Location in relation to other places as well. For example, will you have to get a bus journey to go to a supermarket, or is there one quite nearby? Is there a gym nearby or other shops? Would you rather live in more of a suburban area or in a city centre? The number of people in flats. If you are quite introverted, you can request smaller flat numbers. Luckily, my flat was quite small. There was only 7 of us. Some flats may have 12 or more people in. When you're moving to a brand new place, that can be quite overwhelming. But make sure you consider these things and reflect on what's right for you as well. Those are my 8 key tips for what to consider when researching universities. It may feel like such an overwhelming task, but actually when you break it down and make a checklist for things to consider when looking at the websites, it's quite easy. You can make your own Excel sheet, make sure you have all of the information readily available for when autumn comes and you have to make your final 5 choices. Thank you so much for watching. Comment this emoji if you watched all the way to the end. Let me know in the comments if you like these kind of sit down advice videos. Thank you. Bye.